My name is Michael Vale. I'm a family law consultant, head of the family law department, dealing with divorce, related matters, couples who separate and all that goes with that. Well, since I joined the legal profession, things have changed very dramatically. When I first started, we were jack of all trades and masters of none. But over time, that's just not worked, and we have to specialise. And I decided to specialise because I did do some, what we called in those days, matrimonial work. We now call it family law, but I dealt with matrimonial work and came across a number of people who were in states of distress. And quite frankly, I decided that I wanted to help them. And over a very long career, it's been a pleasure to do so. You see, or I've seen people in immense distress when they first come in to see me. And the great joy is seeing them come out at the other end. What I tell clients frequently when they come to see me is that if they're getting divorced, they really have to get divorced. They must write off, as it were, the next 12 months of their lives to try and get the balance of their lives sorted out. And I assure them that at the end of it, they'll feel much better about life. And I'm happy to say they inevitably do. I mean, one of the things I'd like to do post-completion of a divorce matter is to keep in touch with that client to see how they're doing. Some of those clients have become lifelong friends, some haven't. I'd be glad to see the back of them, but you know, it's good to see people come through times of great stress and anxiety, and that's a real pleasure to try and make a difference to somebody's life. People come in to see me in a state of distress, complaining about their marriage. I never use the divorce word. If they want to use the D word, the divorce word, to me, then we can talk about divorce. But what I always say is, do we really have to be doing this? Is this the course you really want to take with your life? Divorce is, of course, a very serious step, say I. And, you know, if they want to do it, then I'll go through it with them, but I like to converse with them as to really whether they do have to go down that particular route. If they decide they do, then I talk to them about the three fundamental issues relating to divorce, and that's the divorce itself, the process, financial and property matters, and last and not least, issues relating to the children. Keep it as amicable as you possibly can, because the less amicable it is, the more expensive it's going to be. We don't want World War III. I do like to assure clients that if we have to have World War III, I'm perfectly capable of banging the table, but I recommend, for their sake and for the sake of their wallets, to try and keep things on an even keel, try and stay amicable, but always feel free to hide behind me as and when and if and when you need to. At a firm I worked at, my young trainee solicitor came in to see me in a state of some distress. She had wealthy parents, the husband came from a good background, and a very expensive marriage had been arranged, and she came in to see me in tears. And I said, you know, obviously, what's the matter? She said, you know, I'm getting married and I just don't think I can go through with it. And I said, and she said, what do you think I should do? I said, this is a no-brainer. Don't go through with it. Don't get married. If you have doubts, don't get married. You know, it doesn't matter about the expense. It does matter, but not to me in terms of someone who's advising you. So you judge it on its merits. If I know my mate's girlfriend, if I know her and I have a view of her, I might say, wouldn't touch it with a barge pole, mate. If I think she's a nice girl and I ask him if he's in love with her, he might say to me, what is love, Michael? And I say, well, love is like an addiction. If you're addicted to the girl, you can't be without her, marry her, but do a prenuptial agreement. If you've got more money than her, if she's got more money than you, don't do a prenuptial agreement. Stick with her. So it depends. You call it on its merits. I would, I think, point out to my mate that really, we get all sorts of statistics about this, but I reckon 1 in 2 marriages fail. So you think about that, you really got to want to do it. You really want to get married. And I would actually probably enlarge on some of the issues which a court would take into account if they did get divorced. So if my mate is a wealthy bloke, a businessman, I might say, look, before you do any of that, make sure you get your pre-marriage agreement in place. I talk to him at that level. But if I know the girl and she's very nice, I would encourage him to get married. I myself have the good fortune of having been married for 45 years. So, I know that an enduring marriage can be a joy and it can be great. The converse is true. It can be hell on earth. So you have to call it as you see it at that time. I think the one thing that you might have asked me is how expensive is divorce? Because that is a big financial stress. If you have a case where there's a property or a couple of properties involved and a business, even a relatively small business involved, and it's all highly contentious, then not only are you talking about your solicitor's fees, you're talking about fees of, for example, a forensic accountant to look at the books of the business. You're looking at a surveyor to value a property. You may even have to go to a barrister. There's a difference between solicitors and barristers. And a fairly contentious divorce can cost £30,000 to £50,000 in overall fees. Very, very expensive. So you never embark on it lightly, and you have to have all your ducks in line before you set off on this venture. But if you're unhappily married, as I said a few moments ago, we have one life. And I will talk to clients at this level. If I have someone come in to see me and they're agonizing about what to do, not because they don't know what to do, but they're frightened of the consequences, they're frightened of announcing to their spouse that they actually want a divorce because they want a different life. You've got to encourage them to do it. One thing a divorce lawyer ought not to do is to sit on the fence, not only in terms of giving a black letter or advice, but in terms of sharing your experience of life.